Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is a special and exclusive interview with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He's a presidential hopeful for 2023. We are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia, and my name is Dennis Jai, along with my co-host, Mr. Anthony Sear. Mr. Sear, welcome to the show.
Dennis, thank you. I'm excited, and it's good having Councillor Tiawan Gongloe in the house today for an exclusive with him. We know he's running for president. And as you know, when it comes to politics, I like this stuff. So I'm happy to be here, and let us do this.
And we're happy that the councillor just fell off from the connection here, and we are waiting him in the next 59 seconds. He should be here quite shortly. But this is an interview. We know the councillor has announced his intention to run. That was done some time ago in Nimba County, less than a month now, in Ganta City to be specific. And we're glad to have the councillor. He's the former president of the Liberia National Bar Association. He was a former minister in the government of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and also worked with the interim government of President Amos Claudius Sawyer. Councillor Gongloe, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on Focus on Liberia for the first time. But let me warn you that because I'm using my phone, it goes off often, and the internet connectivity here is a little bit weak. So we are not like United States.
All right.
I just want you to bear that in mind.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. So for the first time on Focus
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. Okay.
Great. Happy New Year to you. We want to say welcome for the first time on Focus on Liberia. And by way, this is a Benesi Kenny. This is our ceremonial call out to you to say welcome for the first time on Focus on Liberia.
Thank you. That's kind of you. I'm already eating at Grebo Cola, virtually.
Thank you. We're happy to have you. At the beginning of the show, we're playing your song, Yes. So if you have it on or another system, you can turn it off. At the beginning of the song of the show, we're playing your song. I think that's in maybe 3 or 4 different Liberian languages. And what I could hear there is in Basa they say your child is my child. In Kran I heard no one person can bear a child. Let's start with that. Did you write that song, or is that the campaign is that the stage you want to set? Is that how you're being perceived as the person from all the counties?
Is that not how we're read? That a child belongs to the village, that a child is everyone's child, and the village bears the responsibility of bringing up that child, of protecting that child, and shaping the conduct of that child. That is it. That a child belongs to all in the village. And I belong to all Liberians, and I manifest that in my conduct, the way I relate to all Liberians. I go beyond tribe, county, region. I am for all Liberians, and that song is actually reflective of a true Liberian child as I am.
Thank you. I think I like that beat too. I like the song, and so that's what. But we know you as a Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, the human rights lawyer. We also know that you headed the Liberian Bar Association. You were minister, I think, Minister of Labor in the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, and also Solicitor General, if I'm not mistaken. You also work with in the interim the interim government of national unity of Ms. President Sawyer. That's your public. Is there anything you wanted to tell us outside of that public image, the man Tiawan Gongloe?
Well, I mean, more recently, I'm still the outgoing president of the Liberia National Bar Association. That's the most recent public position I've had It's not governmental, but it's high profile enough because as president of the bar, I'm president of all the lawyers in the country, including the judges, the justices, ordinary practitioners, lawyers who work as prosecutors, and lawyers, all Liberian lawyers. That is a huge responsibility as well.
Tell me a little bit about your growing up. We want to know more about you a little bit more. In fact, if my knowledge of Tiawan say Gongloe say, meaning you are the first child of your mother, it, Tiawan. Tell me about that name, Tiawan.
First, in Mana, the first son is called C.
Right.
Tiawan means an orphan's palm kernel. The story is that in the old days, your mother dies, and then you don't have anyone to feed you. One of the easy food items you depend on is palm kernel. So when you take a palm kernel to crack it, you want to get a full kernel out.
Hmm.
So palm kernel, I mean, the tier one is like it demonstrates love and care. An orphan's palm kernel. If you're a hungry orphan and you take a palm kernel, you want to crack it in such a way that a full kernel will come out for you to eat it. If you crack it in a sloppy way, the whole thing will splash. So tier one is an orphan's palm kernel.
Daniel, you are muted.
Go ahead, Mr. CM. Thank you, Ms. Councillor. We,
Thank you.
But you wanted
And
me to
Councillor,
tell you
this is
about my
yeah,
you
go. Yeah.
wanted me to tell you about my you wanted me to tell you about my growing up.
brinking.
Yeah, I was born in Nimba. My mother brought me to Monrovia when my father was in school, so I understand. I spent a little bit of. I heard the first language I really learned to speak was Crew. I don't understand it anymore because I was playing at the age of 3, 4 with Crew children. I went back. I was taken back up country, and I spent a lot of time in Bon County, where my mother comes from, in quite far Bon County. That was around Zawinta. And then at the age of 7, my father took me to Ganta, where I started school at the I started kindergarten school at the G.W. Pearson School uh, in Ganta. And then later I went to Mela Public School, then to Tapeta Government School, afternoon school. Then I came to Monrovia for a year, and then I went back to Mela, then to Tapeta, went to St. Francis. I went to St. Mary's and graduated from St. Mary's High School. Then I came to Monrovia to attend the University of Liberia, where I met people like uh, Jimmy Fromaya, that you know, the former Elections Commission chair. In fact, as I'm speaking to you, he's sitting right here. He just walked in.
Okay.
Comedy Reset, Dusty Willow Colley, and the rest of them, uh, who helped to also shape my political orientation because they were before me at the University of Liberia. I met them, and they persuaded me to join the Student Unification Party, which, by the way, is the oldest active student political party in Liberia. I had already been exposed to Moja while I was in high school by Dr. Tipote in Sankole. So when I got to University of Liberia, it was easy for me to join the Student Unification Party, and it is from there that my social consciousness actually developed.
Social consciousness. What does that mean? Councillor, did you hear me? Can you hear me?
You know, to know about your society, to know about your country, to be concerned about your country, and not just being concerned about yourself. The good of your country, the improvement of the country, thinking about people beyond yourself. We were made to be selfless. thinking more about other people than ourselves, thinking about the good of our nation than thinking about what we want individually.
Thank you, Councillor Gongloe. Folks, bear with us. It seems to be he alerted us already that there may be off and off kind of situation with the connectivity there. And then I was just trying to see if I could ask him about the spelling of his name. I just, curious. I see some people spell Tiawan, Tiawon, and in some places I see Tiawan, and I wanted to know which is which. Folks in cyberspace, this is Focus on Liberia. Anthony here co-hosting with my partner Dennis Jah. Our guest is the Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He is from the now opposition Liberian People Party. He has been, by the way. Maybe he went dead. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but that is the truth, though, Dennis. He's a progressive, and you're asking about what is this social consciousness.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, it's knowing who you are, knowing your country, knowing what is good and right, and what needs to be done. I'm trying to explain it to my understanding, because we hear that word all the time from these political actors, and no one ever get to ask them, what do you really mean when you say social consciousness or consciousness?
No, that is correct, and we are waiting Councillor Gongloe to get back on. He warned us earlier about the connectivity, and we hope to get him back, and then we can go into his whole plan. Why he's running, what he hopes to do, or his plan for the country. We're going to go into all that, but we are still setting the stage here. He just spoke to us about social consciousness, and that's a good one, because politicians often throw these words around, and sometimes we swallow them without asking, and then we sometimes even repeat them without knowing. And then when they get to power, we wonder, something else. So it's very good to get the meanings of this word. We're going to be going into, why he's running and why this time. So yes, he's trying to get back on now. And if things go bad, we're going to just get him on the call. Councillor, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right. We don't have your video, but this is fine. As long as we get you, it's fine. So let's start by saying again, Anthony, you had a question for Councillor before we go into it.
Yeah, and Councillor, before we start the real interview, I've seen your name spelled two different ways. I don't know. I'm not sure you're the one spelling it that way. I see Tiawan, Tiawon, and then I see Tiawan. Which is which? I mean, made it clear for us today in the media so we can know which is which.
It's A-N.
It's A-N.
Tiawan.
Oh, all right. Thank you so very much.
My understanding is that most of the journalists of the late 1980s and early 1990s were Cllr or Grable, and Tiawan means something in Cllr. I understand O-N, but Tiawan is a mononym and it means it's A-N.
Okay. Yeah, probably because you learned speaking Cllr first.
And you say you forgot all the crew.
I forgot all.
But Councillor, let's start by asking you, because we saw you launch your campaign in Ganta, for president. So the big question here is, why are you running to be president of Liberia?
So let me make correction. I'm not campaigning because that would be in violation of the law.
Okay.
I want to officially respond to petitions that I have received. So that was an occasion to respond to to petitions, and I accepted the petition from a cross section of Liberians to run for the presidency. I want to run for the presidency because everything is going bad in this country. Things were bad before, but it's going from bad to worse in every aspect of governance. Um, and I want to actually stop the retrogression of our country, and I call it a train to take Liberia to a better Liberia. Uh, Issues of rule of law, the economy, issue of integrity, saying one thing and doing what you actually say, the high level of corruption in our country. I mean, just everything is bad. And because of that, the level of hopelessness is just so high.
All right, Councillor Gongloe, you've been in the public arena, and most so you have been following governance in Liberia. Is it now that you have come to realize that no matter where you serve in government, you can't change anything much until you become president?
Development.
Councillor Gongloe, are you with us?
Yes. Oh, you didn't hear me?
No, we didn't hear
me?
you. Your voice got frozen at your end there, so we never heard you. But I asked this question, why that had happened.
He wanted to complete, so let him complete his thought.
Yes, please complete your thought there.
But what did you hear? So that I can complete.
Yeah, about you ended with you start at corruption.
Yeah.
Why you were running when you were asking?
Oh, okay. I start at corruption.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I said the high level of corruption is creating hopelessness, despair. People are just angry and unhappy with the general situation in this country. And we know how that can create more difficulty. Liberians can be quiet, but out of a sudden you see a volcanic eruption like the coup, like the civil conflict, and we don't want that to happen. Liberians don't speak out a lot. Few of them are doing so, but because people are not speaking out does not mean that they are happy. Majority of the people are not happy. They are silent, unhappy people, and that manifested itself, for example, with the Dillon election. Not many people are speaking, and because of that, the party in power felt hopeful that it will win. But Dillon beat them 2 times because the people are now disenchanted, totally unhappy with the party in power. And the argument of the party in power was that this was a Monrovia-based situation. But with the defeat of the party in power in Bond County, in Nimba County, and even in grandchildren that are giving so much support to the party in power, is a clear manifestation of the fact that people are unhappy. If you had a whole election today, CDC would be beaten.
And Councillor Gongloe,
because the people are not happy.
Yeah, Councillor Gongloe, you have earned for yourself this image of an uncompromising lawyer or man of the law. And you serve in so many capacities in government as well. It's said now that you have come to realize that if you are not president, there's not anything or much you can change in our country. Is that why you are running for president?
Actually in school at the University of Liberia, I developed my national consciousness about making Liberia better, about thinking about Liberia and improving the general situation beyond my own improvement. And since I left school, in fact, from school days, we were activists. And out of school, me and many of my colleagues have been consistent in advocating for a better Liberia, for a Liberia that will work for all Liberians, not some Liberians, not just a few, not an exclusive few, you know. So, and we've been advocating all of the time. We advocate, we make recommendations, and nobody listens. So we can't be advocating our whole life. I'm loyal to my country and my conscience. I don't want when I'm in my 80s and or 90s and totally helpless to be holding myself guilty. That if Councillor Gongloe, if you knew the better way out, why didn't you offer yourself as an alternative for the Liberian people? So I'm offering myself as an alternative now to do justice to my conscience
So, Councillor,
and to the people of Liberia.
what uniquely qualifies you that you can make that difference?
Okay, so amongst everyone who has said, has expressed his desire to run, I have a track record of consistency in seeking or advocating for a better Liberia. I have an anti-corruption track record. I served in government. I was Solicitor General. I served as Executive Assistant to the Interim President of Liberia for 4 years. I serve as Minister of Labor. My name is not in any investigative or anti-corruption report, GSC report, nothing like that. And the thing that is killing this country actually is the level of dishonesty in government, stealing the people's money. I have a track record of returning money when I travel. I mean, even as president of the bar, I I I had an external auditor audit the Bar Association for the 3 years that I served as president before reporting to the convention. So it is the whole issue of making sure that the Liberian people's money is not stolen, that is kept and used for the benefit. And I have a track record of that. Before coming to government, when we used to advocate, people used to tell us, when you get into government, you will do the same thing. I've been in government, I didn't do the same thing because I know that there's no mosquito in government or any kind of insect that bites to be corrupt. Being corrupt is not an accident, it's planned, it's a deliberate thing that people plan. They design it and execute it, and it gets people poorer. So our Liberian coffers is like a basket. You can put 1 million gallons of water in a basket. It will not hold it. So I want to come to power and show how to lead with integrity. And when we establish that, other leaders after us will follow that legacy of honesty. That is what is happening in Botswana, because the first president of Botswana, Sarisi Kama, was an honest man. He left a legacy of honesty, and because of that, Botswana, that used to be a poor country, is now among the richest countries of the world and is the least corrupt country in Africa. The government there is seeking the welfare of a majority of the people of Botswana who want to do the same thing for Liberia.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, we have seen President come and go, with Liberia either at the same spot or retrogressing. What is the issue that you have identified as the problem for Liberia, and how do you intend to fix it, Councillor?
So there's a general lack of respect for the rule of law, largely by those who man government. Those who run government don't respect the rule of law. Because the Constitution and the statute laws clearly define how to govern this country. We have enough laws. But those who govern our country lack the political will to respect the rule of law, to discipline themselves. That is why they steal government money, because theft is violation of the law. For you to steal public money is a violation of the law, and they do it so blatantly. And it's worse now. People come into power, people who could not even pay for one room yesterday are building huge houses as if they are money magicians, as if they have money machines at their homes. So this makes people angry because when you see people who are poor just 1 year ago getting so rich, and there's no way to justify their wealth other than stealing public money. And this is at the bottom of the civil conflict that is lurking at the horizon, just like before. You know, the civil conflict in this country was not because of religious differences or tribal differences. It was because of bad governance. At the center of bad governance in this country is corruption, stealing money that belongs to all of us by few people, and therefore not building the roads that need to be built, not building the schools that need to be built, not building the clinics, and seeking the general welfare of the Liberian people. So a majority of the people are deprived and they get angry with those in government. This is what I want to stop. I said to a church the other day, I was asked, why do you want to run? I said, I want the government of Liberia, under my leadership, to respect commandment number 8. If you know the 10 commandments, the 8th commandment is thou shalt not steal. I believe that God put that commandment so that those who lead God's people can protect their resources, not stealing their resources, but to use what God has provided for the protection and welfare of God's people. This is exactly what I want to do.
Thank you. Councillor, currently in the leadership of this country, we have someone called the bar room medicine. We saw in the last election there was a poverty doctor, and now we see that you've been called the corruption doctor or corruption medicine. In fact, you carry a broom everywhere you go when you travel on this when you make some of your trip to signify that you're going to be sweeping corruption. It's bar roll matters, bar rules, corruption, poverty, and all these things are symptoms of a bigger problem. Do you agree?
They are symptoms of the bigger problem of dishonesty and lack of the political will to change for the better.
And is that dishonesty and the political will, is that what you are running on? Is that the core message that you're going to change?
We have a 10-point agenda for achieving a better Liberia that starts with respect for freedom of expression and onto the economy. But, you know, we'll write a platform. Other people are writing bigger platforms than us. Taylor, for example, had a very beautiful platform. We have great laws. We have a good constitution. What is lacking is the political will to do what the law requires. The political will to be honest to the people of Liberia by setting example, by not stealing their money. If the president does not steal, nobody under him will steal in this country. Clearly. So all of what is contained in our 10-point agenda for better Liberia have also appeared in other platforms before. But the question is, why do we think we are in a better position to implement those things that will create a better Liberia? I say our track record. Everywhere that I worked, I have transformed. And then I've not stolen. For example, at the Ministry of Justice, I will tell you, as I said on Costa Show the other day, that from 1847 to 2006, all county attorneys in this country were non-lawyers. Many of them were not even high school graduates. Before I left the Ministry of Justice, I made sure I transformed prosecution to the extent that today, only law school graduates who are being admitted to practice law in Liberia are county attorneys from Cape Man to Cape Palmas. This is an achievement that was not there. I can boast of it without any fear of contradiction. I achieved this. And I was able to achieve this and make the prosecution function because I was not eating prosecution funds. The prosecutors had enough money to prosecute. I carry on regular quarterly training sections for the prosecutors to improve their skills. I understand that is not going on now because that was regular training, in-service training to improve their skills. These are things I did to transform the prosecution. At the Ministry of Labor, I went there and carried the work permit fee up from $400 to $1,000 by issuing regulation number 17. I convinced the president that the only way to get the Indians and Lebanese, who were the largest employers at that time, to employ Liberians was to give them incentive for employing Liberians by increasing work permit fees for foreign job seekers. As a result of that, a lot of Liberians got employed. That is transformation. If I was corrupt, I could have been taking bribes from foreign employers and not finding ways to get Liberians employed. So I always put Liberia first in everything I do.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. What we just listening to is impressive. So you also serve as the Liberian National Bar Association. Out of curiosity here, does the bar get any budgetary allotment from the national government? If that is yes, during your time, because we understand you're leaving now, talk to us about transparency with any such money that you may have gotten from the budget, if actually you get allocation.
Okay, so it's an easy question. The answer is a two-letter word, no. The government does not give subsidy to the bar. One time, the government assisted the bar to host the convention, the 2020 convention of the African bar.
Okay.
How did that happen? The African bar has scheduled to hold its convention in Egypt. Egypt had agreed, but it was difficult for the delegates to get visas to enter Cairo. So 1 month to the convention, the African bar asked me and said, Tiawan Gongloe, I understand the bar is doing well. Can the Liberian National Bar Association host the convention of the African bar? I told him, give me a minute. Give me a day. So I convened an emergency section of the Executive Council of the bar and persuaded them to agree for me to agree to the request that the African bar made. I said, look, this will put the Liberian National Bar Association on the map. It will also be good for our country. That since 1907, since the bar was established, it had never hosted an international conference. I was also happy that it would be so under my administration. So the bar agreed. We didn't have enough money to host the African bar. So we wrote the government of Liberia to assist us and told President Joshua, this will be happening under your administration. That lawyers from the entire continent will be coming here for a convention. If it goes well, it will be, you will share the glory as well. And he agreed. So we received some assistance from the government of Liberia through the office of the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. That's the only time. Before that, many years ago, President Salih at the inauguration of installation of President Michael Wright of the bar promised the bar $100,000. Up to now, the government has not paid that money to the bar. So the bar has been running its own affairs. We used to make requests before me and for the first year of my administration, we used to make
some connection issue there.
Hello, my name is Tiawan Gongloe. I am an activist, and you're watching Focus on Liberia.
Councillor, can you hear us? All right, we have some trouble there with Councillor's line, and we're going to use that time to read some of. Okay, Councillor, we lost you for a minute.
So, what you didn't get is that the President Cllr promised about $100,000 at one of our installation programs, but up to now we have not received that money. I also said that we got some financial assistance from the government of Liberia to host the African Bar Competition in 2020.
Right. So Councillor,
and then
not to interrupt you, Councillor. So in all the areas that you have served, you know, in the ministry has a Solicitor General, has a Labor Minister, and President of the LMB. What has been your record of transparency, even or publishing your books, you know, open books, so that people will see that he has demonstrated in this area, and so when he gets to the presidency, he's going to do the same? That's the bigger question.
Okay, but you know, under President Cllr, the GAC used to send auditors periodically to audit the ministries, and I was audited as Minister of Labor, Physical Audit, all of the audits. And I remember in 2010, President Cllr was doing some major review of all the ministers, and she forgot about me. When I called her assistant and I went there, she said I review my ministers on the basis of the transparency record and the anti-corruption record and the PRS record. But I know that I've been told you are the first to go to Ministry of Labor and the last to leave. And in your own words, and your hand is not in a cookie jar. This was my boss speaking. President said she had heard nothing about my hand being in a cookie jar. So, and as Labor Minister, as Solicitor General, I was transparent. Everything I did was open for everyone to see. And I've never faced any investigation in government for suspicious transaction. I also used to return money when I traveled. I remember the comptroller of the Labor Ministry telling me, "Oh, Minister, I gave you only $500 to go to, I think, Bon County or so on a trip, and you came back and you returned some money, and then you are giving me receipts and all that, and we put down such a small amount of money." And I said, because I expect you to do the same. But the Liberian National Bar Association, I can speak clearly about the Liberian National Bar Association because I had complete responsibility. I didn't have to report to anyone except the bar. So when I traveled the first time, for example, I was given $1,000 to go to Nigeria. And when I got to attend the African Bar Governing Council meeting, when I got there, my hotel bills, transportation, everything was taken care of. We left from Lagos to Benin to Abuja. When we got to Abuja, I said I had a case in malaria. I had to cut short my visit. And they said, well, if you cut short your visit, you have to pay the airfare to Lagos and your hotel bill, which I did. So I spent only $183, and I brought back $817 to the bar. I said when I went on the trip, everything was shouldered by the African bar. So I didn't pay, I brought the money back. There was no one there to see whether the money was spent or not. That is being transparent. I recently went to Gambia. I was given $500. I only spent $20 at the airport as a security fee, and I brought the receipt and $480 to the bar. I went to Ghana. I was given $500. I didn't spend a dime because everything I paid, the COVID test and everything was
Folks, bear with us. Connectivity is not that great. Bear with us. I think the counselor audio will resume very soon as the internet settles down a little bit. It says focus on Liberia, where we educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We are in an exclusive with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, 2023 presidential aspirant. Stay tuned, and we are here.
Yes.
Councillor,
Are you here? No, let me conclude now. You are hearing me. I found out that I got disconnected.
yeah, we can
Um,
hear you now.
but on the bar now, I mean, I told you the last trip I went on for the bar was to attend the 20th anniversary of the African Community Code of Justice.
Yeah,
I
we
was
got
given
that.
I was given $1,000. When I went there, I was given per diem, so I returned the $1,000 back to the bar. But more than that, I convinced the executive council of the bar to allow me to get an external auditor to audit the 3 years of my administration. And the bar agreed. So we set up a committee and they did expression of interest published in the newspapers. And there were three auditing firms that applied. The bidding committee picked one, and that auditing firm audited the 3 years of my administration that showed that there were $15,000, $281 in the coffers when I took over, 3 million Liberian dollars, and $228,000 in the construction budget, because we are trying to construct our new headquarters on the Roberts Field Highway. During my administration, we constructed uh, the first floor of the headquarters at a cost of $240,000. And what, according to order I'm leaving in the covers, is $134,000 from $15,000 and $3 million US. When converted, would be like maybe $5,000 or so. So I carry the money up rather than reducing it way up to the point where I can no longer afford to continue
Another issue there. Bear with us. We are still having some connection issue there.
So then, is while we wait, I think we should take a short break.
Okay, so the important thing is that one demonstration of my transparency is that we got an external auditor to audit my tenure, 3 years
Right,
as
Councillor,
president.
we got that when you explained it. So we got that part. So here is my question for you, because the perception of from what you have stated, but there is a certain perception that Councillor Tiawan as Gongloe is straight, and that he will even send his family member to the gallows when they run against the law, and that when you are working with him, in fact, there was a joke they told about you that even if he become president, he may abolish the presidential motorcade so that he can save the money and use it for something else. That perception, I don't know if you are trying to fight it, because there is one person I remember who people perceived that way, that he was too straight, he would not do anything outside, and because of that, and that's Dr. Tukwana Tipoti, and because of that, he did not even win 20% in any election. Is that something that you're trying to fight off so that you don't go the same route of Dr. Tipota?
No, I will not fight that. I don't want to be president at all cost. Being straight is a very important value that a president should have, so that your words are believed. If you say something, you go by it. I don't want to be president by changing who I am or by deceiving people. No, I don't want to. I want to be who I am. Uh, I've said it. I'm not gonna try to be president at all cost. By lying to people that I'm not straight or I will not be straight. No.
Thank you, Councillor. Then, if I can follow up here, the LPP that you are a member of, I guess the symbol there is a broom. So we see you with this broom. And my understanding of what the broom symbolizes is that you're going to sweep corruption. We see some people sweeping in our country out of the part the dirt on Central Street. So when you start sweeping a dirt or corruption, are you going to pot it up somewhere or what are you going to do with it?
Well, when you sweep corrupt people, they end up in jail, right? The
That's why
law
we are
has a
scared,
way
but that
of
is not the case with
dealing
some
with
people.
corrupt people. The penalties are there.
Okay.
I can assure you that I will go by the law. I'm a former prosecutor, right? I
Yes,
know
sir.
I know how to use the law, and I will use it effectively. In fact, that is how I was able to generate so much money for the bar. Our the the general rule governing the practice of law that is that every lawyer must have a license and must pay his or her bar due before practicing law. Otherwise, any paper you file in court is dismissible. You don't have the legal capacity to practice if you are not pay your bar due and you are not obtaining your government you are not pay your license if you don't have a license. So here is what I did. I went to LRA and enter into an MOU with LRA, the LNBA and LRA that look, we ensure that all lawyers pay their professional license fee of $100 to the government. But please give us the authority to be the one to issue licenses to our members so that we can control the practice of law. And we signed that MOU. I then set up a licensing committee headed by one of the experienced lawyer, Councillor ECB Jones. And the committee came up with a set of rules that we approved. That first, every lawyer should fill a form giving a family background and stating whether they are naturalized citizen or not. And if they are naturalized citizen, when they got naturalized, to avoid the situation with no Abudike. And then your admission certificate, when you got admitted, all of these supported by documents. Then after that, there's a question: have you paid all of your bar dues? If no, you are not entitled to a license. Have you paid all of the extra levies, like your contribution to the bar construction, headquarters construction? If no, you are not entitled to license. Have you done your 10 credit hours of continuing legal education uh, over the year? No, you are not entitled to license. So because of that, and we rigorously enforced it, some lawyers started paying 5 years accrued due because without being up to date with your due, you will not get a license. It is that rigorous enforcement, strict enforcement of our own bar rules that caused us to raise more than $300,000. And now we do not beg the UN, we don't beg the UN, we don't beg UC. We have become self-reliant and self-sufficient just by enforcing our own laws, and we are building our headquarters without begging anyone,
Councillor,
by being straight.
we have two more questions, then we bring in our viewers' comments and then take calls. A question here is you continue to campaign for the implementation of the war and economic war crimes in Liberia. And anytime you mention that, that ruffles some feathers. Some people are really angry about that. You also know that the TRC report died under President Ellen Sirleaf and Vice President Joseph Newman Boakai. If you keep pushing, and then you see Senator Prince Johnson doesn't even like to hear, smell, or taste anything called war crimes court. And you and I know that he has a big base especially in Nimba County, where since 2005, wherever he directs, there most of the county go. By you continuing to push this line of war crimes code, aren't you going to alienate some voters and also ruffle some big feathers right there in Liberia that may make it very difficult for you to get people on your side?
For example, the current Vice President, Joy Howard Taylor, who is from your mother county of Born, she's on record for saying, uh, because of the interrelatedness of our country, if you drag one person to court, it will have a ripple effect. These are big actors in politics. They might take votes away from you. I hear you.
Okay, so opportunism has never been one of my characteristics.
Okay.
And just because I want to be president, I'll start uh, revising what I've said before.
Mhm.
All of my views in the past remain my views today because my views are based on, well thought of position about Liberia, and I maintain all of the views I've had on these issues, and I respect the views of those who have other views, but the law must be respected at all times. No country can move one step forward without respecting its own laws. TRC was established by an act of the legislature. All right? It's not an arbitrary body. And we are not an isolated country. We are not alone on the planet Earth. Several countries that have gone through this situation have put a closure to the conflict. And one way of putting closure to the conflict is to hold people accountable. Look, I don't know why people are afraid of going to court. Babu went to court and got acquitted. Many people believe that Babu was going to be that's the former foreign president, that he was going to be found guilty. He went there and came out. Pierre Bamba of the DRC went to the Hague, to the criminal court, and got acquitted. There are many people in Nimba, for example, including me, who lost their family members at the Lutheran church. Those who were present when the massacre took place at Lutheran church in Monrovia said the blood was flowing from the church to the street like water. And the families of those people are still alive. Are they not entitled to justice? I believe they are.
Correct.
What about the Nimbayans that were killed at the UN compound? What about the young people of Nimba that were allegedly thrown in a well? And there is a group in the country that is finding, researching on the atrocities that were committed all over the country, and they say there's no country that does not have at least 3 mass graves. So it means people were killed all over the country, and those who committed atrocities are alive. Recently, I was in Blole. Blole in Nimba is the place I call the political shrine of Nimba because that's the birthplace of Jackson F. Doe. I went there, and that's the same area that Senator Prince Johnson comes from, Booyah. I went there and I said, I'm here to seek my blessings from you. The same traditional blessings that you shower on Jackson Doe that made him to do well in the election of 1985 and made him to even win is the same blessing that I've come from. And the last surviving brother of Jackson F. Doe, Soko Doe, said, you have made a right decision. He brought the elders and the shower blessings on me in Booyah. There was not a word mentioned about Senator Prince Johnson is in Booyah. In fact, the only thing that was mentioned by somebody was that one elder, he said, when I was chief here for a long time, but as soon as Georgia won, Senator Prince Johnson dismissed me. The over. I know that there are people concerned about Senator Johnson, but the situation is changing. If you follow the recent election in Ganta, where he held one of my friend's hand up, uh, that, the situation was different. That person lost. Uh, it is my understanding that many people told him, go as an independent candidate, will vote for you. But you had the same impression that many people have, that whenever Prince Johnson holds your hand, you win. So he went to Prince Johnson and he lost. And the other fellow won. So the situation has changed.
Folks, bear with us. This is Focus on Liberia. If you are just joining us, we are in an exclusive with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe.
He is trying so hard to get there.
Bear with us, folks. It's just the connection. He's still here. Just that the audio.
The last thing I said, the last thing I said is that there is no political Maradona in Liberia again. So nobody has a heavyweight in Nimba or anywhere to influence the conduct of people in the election, in the electoral process.
Councillor, let me follow
Liberian
up.
voters are waking up.
Let me follow up on that quickly, and not to because there is someone who ran in two previous elections, and the basis of the question is, why not meet the people where they are? Because if you keep pushing the line that many people don't like, even though it's right, you may not be compromising, but you're being wise to approach it a different way so that when you get there, you can make those changes. Let me give you a quote of someone I interviewed who ran for the presidency and lost twice. He said, what he was trying to do, he was trying to change the electorates. Okay. So he said, why not meet the people where they are? So if they want a bag of rice for them to give me their vote, I give them the bag of rice instead of, so that when I get to power, then I can change that. But if I want to change their minds while I'm asking for their vote, I may not get it. I also heard a story about a town in Nimba County called Glay. They say when you go to Glay and you're trying to hold a discussion around 5, 6 o'clock, you're not going to get anything out of it because at that time of the day, the people are drunk. So you are not going to say, well, Glay people should not drink this time, so I'm going to make my case anyway. You want to wait for that opportune time to be able to present your case. So if you look at that Glay phenomenon, if I may call it that way, don't you think you can find a way around this thing instead of pushing war crimes code, and end up losing votes and a lot of big hands fighting you?
We've dealt with that issue already. Then the situation in Glay about drinking palm wine in the evening, Glay is where I come from. I can understand that. But I don't identify with the issue of giving bags of rice. It's wrong.
Okay.
If you use bag of rice to come to power, that's investment in the political process. Everybody who is spending so much money in terms of bag of rice and money and all of that, giving the voters, will get their money back. The experience has shown that political investments lead to political returns, profit on the investment. And in the end, that is what people call corruption. And corruption leads to them be denied of getting their roads, their schools, their clinics, and everything else they need because they allow a process whereby people give them bag of rice. People who give bag of rice will always get their money back and get profit on their money. So I am not going to change. I'm getting a lot of people coming to me in Liberia here and abroad because I remain who I am. I'm not going to change on the electorates. And I rather remain who I am. I rather remain who I am and lose election than to change and lose election and regret that I'm no more the person I am. I cannot change anymore. So I will remain who I am. I mean, I tested this with the bar. I was who I am. My opponent's campaign that Councillor Gongloe likes to raise issues with government, like to be straight, don't vote for him. And I won the election big time. My opponent got 61 votes. I got 221 votes based upon speaking up against corruption and injustice in this country and lack of respect for the rule of law. I can tell you without any fear of contradiction that I will win this election on the first round.
Wow. Tiawan say Gongloe, the counselor, that is a big and optimistic statement. The history of Liberia's election since 2005 does not contain any fact to that, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. I'm just trying to say to you that is big. This is my question, Counselor. In 2017, based on the records that we look at, you supported Vice President Joseph Yaman Bwaka, and if I'm wrong, please make it clear. Now, if that is true, my question is why you supported him by making what I want to consider an exception to the Unity Party that you have issues with because of corruption. And now he's in the race and you are there. Let hear you.
Okay, so don't forget that I campaigned for Unity Party even though I'm not a member of Unity Party in 2005. All right? And even though I resigned from the Unity Party government, I still felt that at the time among the candidates that were campaigning, he was a better choice since I was not running. And for those who were running, I felt that he was better he was better prepared to win and better prepared to lead the country. There were other candidates but for one reason or the other, in terms of some of them jumping the race, last minute to time, some of them being so close they're associated with the government in power up to the end. And Joe Boakai, for one reason or the other, was a better candidate, so I didn't campaign for him. But yes, I voted for him because I compare him with all of the candidates that were running in terms of his administrative skills and experience over most of those who were running.
Councillor, VP Joseph Newman Boakai described himself or his role under President Sirleaf as a parked race car. We saw that during the election of 2017, President Sirleaf did not endorse or support him. We don't know, but for whatever reason, she did not believe that he was fit to replace her, or they had some bad blood somewhere. I don't know. Looking at the Joseph Newman Boakai admission, what will you be looking for if you were to pick a vice president?
I would look for a vice president who has characters that are similar to mine. Two persons cannot be exactly the same, but I believe that I can find Liberians who think like me, who track records show that they are against corruption, they are committed to rule of law and respect for human rights, and have a better understanding of how the economy should be run. And because a vice president is a potential president, so that's what I'll be looking at. I have names in my mind already. I'm not going to, don't ask me to disclose names to you because I wouldn't at this point.
And Councillor, talking about that, we see a gentleman here, Erele, putting himself forth for you to pick him. His name is Dave Jah. Do you know Dave Jah?
Dave Jah or Dennis Jah?
David Jah.
I don't know Dave.
Oh, okay. I mean, I was just curious.
No.
Dennis?
Yeah.
I'm not going to name anyone. I'm not even going to suggest any description.
Right.
Nothing like that.
But
I can tell you, in the end, when I do select a running mate, that person will be accepted by all Liberians.
But right now, who are the people working with you as you even try to test the waters? Who are the people around you that we can say, yes, this is not a one-man show like we see in most parties, but you have a team. Who are members of your team at this moment?
So I like to start with your county because you are from River G, I believe.
No, I'm from Sino.
There is, oh, you are from Sino. Okay, but then let me go to Sino. There's a Dr. Quia. Dr. Quia is a medical doctor. He is the vice president of the Medical and Dental Association of Liberia, LMDA. Very intelligent doctor. I mean, the way he speaks about me is sometimes he speaks over me like more than I know myself. So we have enthusiastic people like that. There's
I'm from Grand Crew too, Councillor. Saying you want to play it. I'm from Grand Crew too.
Okay, so Grand Crew, I have Augustine Toe, for example, on Team Gongloe. Councillor Augustine Toe, the outspoken lawyer.
Yeah, then, he was from the Catholic Justice and Peace before, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Dr. Jipley from River G. I like to call people from Southeastern Liberia more because these people went to my people in Bon County and Nimba and said, look, we already have a president, but we are coming to you, elders of Bon and Nimba, to talk to your son to accept our petition. We already have a president, but we are clear that we know, and it is very clear to us that our president from Southeastern Liberia does not know the job. He cannot do the job. And in the interest of Liberia, we have identified your son and we believe your son can do it. And that's what they told the elders of Bon and Nimba. And they said, oh, if you are coming from Southeastern Liberia where you already have a president and you are coming to us to talk to our nephew in Bon County, to talk to our son in Nimba, what do you expect? We will, then they say, we'll talk to our son to accept and we will campaign for our son. That's what they said.
Thank you, Councillor. This is my last question, then the comments. You are entering the race at a time we see that the CPP that has monopolized the opposition bloc is imploding, or may I say has imploded. I don't know if this is a coincidence or you are trying to take advantage of the void being created by the CPP collapse.
Dennis, I thought you would say the CPP has died. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, Councillor.
You will not choose Dennis's words. But I told you earlier, I'm not opportunistic and I do not celebrate other people's misery. That is not a good human tendency. I announced my acceptance of the petitions that have been made to me before what is happening in CPP now started happening. So it is not after what started happening in CPP before I announced. And the petitions were made a long time ago. So no, I'm not trying to take advantage of the situation. No, I'm not that way. In fact, I hope and pray that the CPP really overcome the hurdles that they have. And it is possible so that they build a strong political institution. To have our democratic system working properly, we need strong political institutions to compete so that the Liberian people get the best out of the competition. We don't need weak institutions. So sincerely, I pray that they overcome the current problem that they are having. The four parties there can come together and they can overcome whatever difficulties they're having right now.
Thank you, Councillor. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get our viewers to comment.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. We are in conversation and exclusive interview with Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. He's running to be president of Liberia. And Councillor, this is the first comment that Mr. C was talking about, Dave Jar. Dave Jar happens to be my brother. He said, Counselor, will you consider having a brilliant psychologist like Dave Jar as your running mate since he discontinued his presidential bid to support you?
It seems the DBA is offering something for something. I think Tiawan going to buy that. Like, yeah, you can speak.
I defend freedom of expression.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rights under freedom of expression is to remain silent sometimes on some issues. I like to remain silent on that.
All right. Well, then let's go to more comments. Let's read the one from Sam Wallow. The candidate makes a good case for his candidacy and accountability. Can the candidate say why he has never run for the Senate or House, which are platforms from which he could actively demonstrate his commitment and firmness on accountability for corruption?
Can I answer that?
Please.
Yes,
Good. A minister of government has better opportunity to test his commitment to anti-corruption because you run a budget. Senators don't. The ministerial position is where you actually lead a group of people. You administer a whole sector of the government, and you make decisions that require money and dealing with people. The senator
Fallbacks before your his audio.
just because our current president and vice president came from the Senate does not mean that everybody should come from the Senate or from the legislature. Okay?
Thank you. And then let's read this one from Jackie Saya. What are some of the strategies you will employ that will not include working with people who are tainted with corruption or war crimes? They seem to be the ones with a vice grip on our society.
Read that again.
What are some of the strategies you will employ that would not include working with people who are tainted with corruption and war crimes? They seem to be the ones with a vice grip on our society.
But Jackie, as president, I will have the decision based upon a core of advisors that I will have, my inner team, to select Liberians to serve. And obviously, people don't want to forget about just not only war crimes, but nobody wants people with tainted record to come into government when you are saying that you want to build a better Liberia and break away from the past of accepting corruption and violation of the laws of this country, engaging in criminal conduct in different ways. So yes, they say, show me your friends and I will say who you are. So I will select a group of people who will bring confidence and trust of the citizens in what I intend to do for our country.
Thank you. Let me read two more comments. Okay, go ahead, Dennis.
Are you open to collaborate with other political parties? That's the question from Henry Shapulu.
I am not a political party. I'm a member of LPP. I cannot answer that question because that question is meant for the leadership of the party. Our party has a structure. You have party chairman and the leadership of the party. I'm not running as an independent candidate. I'm running on a political party ticket. So that's a decision for a party to make.
Thank you. Then let me read the last two, then we can go to the call-ons. Howard Mens got right. I admire his authenticity and simplicity. A social justice fighter. Liberians, keep your eyes on Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. This one is a question, Councillor. Honorable Gongloe, I just read your last speech. You are suggesting a camera system to monitor judges in their places of work and private places where they congregate, wine, and dine. Isn't this a, what is the word? State? As a lawyer, how could you make the violation of the Constitution a public policy?
This is not a violation of the Constitution. To monitor judges outside court is not a violation of the Constitution in the performance of their official duty. For example, if a judge, you and a judge, I mean, you're having a case, the two of you are having a case before a judge, CA and JA, and you go to JA's house and see the judge whom you are before sitting and drinking with JA, immediately you develop a suspicion that this judge is not qualified to be on your case. Or if you find that JA is giving something to the judge and you have a camera, you can take the photo of JA giving something to the judge at his house or anywhere. So it is a question of the official conduct of the judge. All right. If that young lady in the States, the 17-year-old lady, had not taken the photograph of the police officers killing George Floyd, the truth of what happened would not have been known today. So that's a clear example of how it is important for cameras to be used in monitoring important people in our government, the police, those involved in rule of law, police, judges, and people like that.
Thank you, Councillor. We are opening our phone lines. We have two callers already, but quickly to this question, we can get our first caller. Darling, what will say, maybe Councillor Gongloe should read about Tadmore and learn something from him. Tadmore played fool and gained the presidency. Councillor Gongloe can and will not be president if he continues to preach war crimes court. Play fool, win the presidency. While president, you can pursue your war crimes court. It doesn't mean you flip-flop. It's called being smart.
I respect my friend Darling Wawu's view. Sorry. I understand Darling Wawu's point, but I'm saying my views on accountability have been so strong for so many years of my life that if I were to say today, you know what, I don't believe in accountability anymore, including war crimes and all that. In fact, that will cause a lot of people not to vote for me. They will say this man is a trickster. You know, we don't believe him. So be what you have been all your life. Don't change on people. I'm not going to change on people. Besides that, our president, the bar took a position to support the implementation of war crimes. Implementation of all the recommendations of the TRC, including the establishment of one economic.
Thank you, Councillor. We're going to open our phone lines. We're going to.
In few weeks, I will no more be. In few weeks, I will no more be president of the bar. But my views are my view. The view of the bar is the view of the bar. I'm president of the bar. I'm a member of the bar. I support that view. I'm not going to change. Those who will not vote for me will not vote for me. I'm not going to engage in any sort of bribery just to be president of Liberia. No, I will not be president at all costs.
Thank you. We have 7 minutes to close the broadcast. Let me get Alex Tutu Jones. Alex Jones, you are live. 1 minute, please, quickly.
All right. Well, thank you, Kenneth, and thank you, Councillor Gongloe. I think this interview has been very, very brilliant and fast spent. In the spirit of true disclosure, I had the pleasure of working with you at the early stages of your campaign, your exploratory committee. I got to know you personally, and I think you're a very fine man, you're a very honest man, and you're somebody who I believe that could make a good leader in Liberia. Having said that, I'm also going to hold you accountable, and I'm also going to make sure that whether it's you or anybody, whether we like it or not, one of the problems we have in Liberia is when we like people, we don't hold them accountable. We don't ask them tough questions. We just like our emotions. So in that spirit, I like everything you said about the Lord and what happened. But I have yet to see a strong economic plan for Liberia. Liberia is the poorest country, in my opinion, or in the opinion of most economists. Living standard is way above below standard. And most of the candidates don't have a good understanding of the economy. And without the economy, to pay judges, to pay for rule of law, you're going to go back to here.
Thank you, Alex.
My question to you, what team of finance and accountants are you putting together to make sure to address the ordinary Liberian needs when you become president to raise the living standard? Lastly, I agree that yes, you need rule of law, you need honesty, but most of the countries today are doing well, irrespective of the personal honesty of the president. It's because of good economic plan. Bill Clinton was not an honest man, he was not even a moral man. But under Bill Clinton, for instance, America did the best. So I would like to see more emphasis on recruiting people, maybe holding economic seminars, coming to focus to have debates on the economy. Because in my opinion, without having a strong economy or a good plan, no matter what you do, like yelling, it will be difficult to get
Thank you, Alex. We got 2 minute callers. We just want to have 30 seconds each. Let me go to Aliyu Kamara. Aliyu, quickly, you have 1 minute.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say welcome to the Honorable Tiawan Gongloe. Tiawan Gongloe, let me say this before I even make my point. I'm coming to Liberia soon, and I have to meet with you. Just watch out for the name Aliyu Kamara, Maryland, USA. I'm coming to meet with you. I was in the CDC, didn't really care about meeting Joshua. I was in ACO, didn't really care about meeting Alaji Kuma. And I'm not even in your party, but I really want to see you. To be honest with you, you are the only man, the first man since after the 1990 war that I've ever fell in love with as someone from the Nightingale background. I know you. In fact, I was at Catholic Hospital in 2002 when the SOD birthed you. I was admitted for my eye. I do not have to Google Tiawan Gongloe like I said to most of the other people because I know who Tiawan Gongloe is. My son is 15, he knows Tiawan Gongloe. You understand? So, and I like the way your presidential debate, I like the way you answer the question about platform and writing economic statements. The answer you give to this question is the most simplistic, but the most important answer. The laws are on the book. Our economic laws are on the book. The Constitution is on the book. When somebody talks about honesty, if you can enforce the laws and the rules that are already on the book, Liberia is bound to succeed. Bill Clinton was successful because he went by the book. Botswana today, they're going forward because they go by the book. So your answer is spot on. We can write 20 pages of what we intend to do and how far we intend to move the country. Those pages are irrelevant if you do not follow the rule of law. There is a law about corruption.
Thank you, Aliyu.
Of course there will be no corruption. There is a law about minimum wage in Liberia. If you can enforce that minimum wage law, definitely it will increase. There's law about minimums and other things. So it's about enforcing law. It's not about how many pages you write. I've come to the Bengal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For me. I'm coming to see you personally.
Thank you, Gan. Aliyu, I thought you were a crewman, but anyway.
I was one side, but you know I love Bengal, so no way out.
All right, let's get our next caller here, 319 area code. Your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, what's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Lawrence Nya Yene. I am calling from Waterloo, Iowa, the US of A.
Lawrence, go ahead. You have 1 minute, sir.
I just want to tell the councilor, thank you very much. You have said it all and you are doing it all. I'm really happy that you have accepted the Liberian people petition. It leads with the Liberian people now. I don't want you to be deterred. Be who you are. Even if you don't win, that be to the Liberian.
Yeah.
You have all the pedigree. The fact is what you are telling them. America is great today because the citizens want to be great. When it's elections time, you will see them looking after the candidate. Liberia don't do that. They want for candidate to look for them with back or right. Remain who you are and don't even support your immersion with any other candidate because that party might not have the plans that you have.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Remain who you are. You have to. There's no Liberian that can stand to say Tiawan Gongloe has done this, that. Nothing. You are the one now that can liberate that country. But if Liberian will not take it, that is you with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we're going to skip one caller here just to take our overseas caller. So Sam Desire from Australia, very briefly.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, man. At least you, Brother Dennis, you remember my name, man. I bet. How you guys doing? How to you there, Councilor?
Great. We have 2-minute callers just to get through in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I've said it on a lot of shows. And Mr. Dennis, I want you please do me a favor. Can you please send my number to the councilor, okay?
Okay, I'll do that.
Tiawan, I live in Australia and I searched your profile and I haven't met you in person. I listened to you once on the radio. And when someone is honest, when they speak, you can tell from what they are telling you. It is truth, and you can know they are saying it from the depth of their heart. And I always say this, there's 2 people in this generation that can rescue Liberia and save the next generation. JMB number 1, Tiawan Gongloe number 2. I want to default with the last caller a little bit. This is what I want to propose. I'm not saying it should be done by force. If Tiawan can run with JMB, and JMB go for 6 years and turn the torch over to Tiawan, trust me, we will never regret this decision as Liberian. Because if you look at Mr. Gongloe platform and you look at JMB platform, there's a lot of similarities. And these are 2 distinct characters. These are 2 people with integrity, and these are 2 people that respect the rule of law and have the ability to do better. So, Councilor, I want to say thank you for everything you're doing. And I like the way you stand your ground. And Brother Dennis, I like the way you throw the question at him to see if you can find a way to get him to compromise his decision. And he keeps telling you, I will not do it. I will not do it.
Thank you, Sam.
And in Mbadi, they should be on their knee crawling to make them a leader. Because these are the type of people that will lay a very good platform and be a good example to the next generations to come. And to we, the young people, if we have people like Tiawan in leadership, trust me, we will not be singing Bayama, we will not be singing Amanda Wetu, we will not be wearing red berets in the generation that we are against our generation.
Thank
you so much for your service, sir. And I'll be waiting for your call. I really want to get in touch with you.
Thank you.
JMB is my candidate, but trust me, you are the next on my list.
Thank you. Darling, what will you... Please, 30 seconds. I just want to be very quick here. I've been pushed. We have to end this. Darling, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, John. Councilor Gongloe, I just want to make this correction quick. I am not Darling Wawuchi. I'm Darling Wawuchi. I'm Damian from Flamen. So, John, please give me a little time. This is my uncle we're talking about here.
No, my man, we don't have time.
I agree. But Councilor Gongloe, here is what I have to say to you. In order to fight, you have to stay alive. Their men cannot fight. The war record that you appreciate is a good thing. Everybody, you got a lot of people who are giving a war record. But you cannot establish a war record when you're not president. You have to first of all be president. You need to listen to the voice of reasoning. You need to listen to people. You don't have monopoly over knowledge. There are a lot of great people that are speaking to you that you should relax some of these tough talking issues. Relax it a little bit. And read a little bit about President Thomas, what he did to Bagley and became president. And when he became president, Bagley was behind. I don't even know whether Bagley was somewhere anywhere close to the mansion. So please listen to people. You got so many enemies in Liberia. the big political players too. You talking about Prince Johnson, Ellen Johnson Sally, all those big guys. And you are talking about Walker, you think they were lying to become president in Liberia, and you talking about you don't have to be president at all costs. That is not a strategy. That is not a political. Telling people that you don't have to be president at all costs is not a political strategy. If you don't want to be president, just leave the space. But you can't come here and be telling us I don't have to be president at all costs. My brother, uncle, relax. Some of these tough talking things.
Thank you, darling.
We need people like you in this country. Listen to us. You don't want to be the Patrice Lumumba of Zaire. That kid, when you were made prime minister, you were so serious. You wanted the Germans out right away. And you know what the Germans did to him because you were very naive. You couldn't listen.
Darling, thank you.
Dennis, I noticed all the colors are fired up, but you have to control them.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Let me get, is that Wallace? 970 area code. And Councillor, I hope you're taking notes. The colors are fired up.
No, this is Howard Metzger, a justice advocate from Liberia. I just wanted to put in some of my thoughts and my concern here for the candidate. I want to say, as a social justice advocate, I'm very intrigued by the implementation that the candidate brings to the table. But I also wanted to highlight for us who are victim families who are seeking justice in Liberia during this current regime and the past regime, how do the councillor will be able to bring our cases that were denied justice for the no dignity of human life if he comes to the table? How do he intend to bring those cases forward? And also for the implementation of women and children's security and protection in Liberia, how do these candidates will be able to involve people to make sure that women and children are protected and is the number one inclusion in our society? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Howard. Let's take the last caller here. That's Brooklyn Jackson. Is that the name? Or Jackson Brooklyn? Caller 925 area code. Your name and where you calling from?
The charger.
Yeah, that's Jackson Brooklyn. How you doing, Councillor?
How are you?
I'm calling from Philadelphia. My name is Jackson Brooklyn.
Go ahead, sir.
Councillor Gongloe, I know you. I know you taught me at the University of Liberia 203 economics. I realized I worked at Ministry of Finance for over 9 years, and I realized that the IMF, the World Bank, and other donor community are always coming up with austerity measures. During the Taylor time, they came up with payroll reduction when there was no other way for other people to get jobs. How do you intend, as president, to deal with those kind of situation? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Councillor, you have your work cut out there. I hope you took down some notes there. Your turn. Councillor Gongloe, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, go ahead and respond to our callers, please.
Different measures, austerity measures. Of course, we have our economic advisors who will look at the situation. I'm an economist myself, and one cannot give hypothetical answer to what sort of austerity measure the World Bank and IMF will bring. We will also strengthen the capacity of the economy so that whatever measure is brought, if we have to argue against it, it will be based on our capacity to improve situation. I intend, in my plan, to encourage more manufacturing and not exporting raw materials from Liberia. For example, I've said that in the first 100 days, I'll issue an executive order that no round logs will leave Liberia. And I will give incentives to people to process wood into sawn timbers and to create furniture factories, to the extent that I want a situation whereby every 50 miles away from Monrovia, we put a manufacturing plant 50 miles away from Monrovia, you get a tax break so that someone can put a manufacturing plant, for example, in Kanyakan, where there's electricity now coming from Ivory Coast. and that company will get a big tax break. But you know, the good thing is that we'll get higher revenue from export of finished products, and will increase employment of our young people, and will slow down the rural urban migration. Uh, you know, because there will be activities in the rural areas. Um, so with the economy functioning like that, in the same way I've made about self-reliant, I will have I will be in a stronger position to negotiate with IMF and World Bank on issues of austerity. Then on the issue of the young man who talk about Barclay and all of that, I don't have that type of, I don't like manipulation. I don't like that type of politics, you know, where people believe that politics is being tricky. That Tubman tricked Barclay and said, you know, I will just be there one time, I'll let you come back. That is not good politics. Um, it is better for the people you govern to trust you. You know, it's good to be focused. I mean, to say to people what you are and to be predictive. I'm not going to change that position. And I maintain that I will not be president at all costs. You know, being president at all costs is what is causing people to come to engage in ritualistic killings. Because I've been president at all costs, you want to bring in more blood, uh, so that you can be president, because some witch doctor is saying if you kill this person and you kill that person, then you can be president. I don't want to be president at all costs. I'm not going to trick people. I'm not going to say something and then when I'm in power start doing something else, and then that starts a new wave of conflict because of lack of trust, and then people don't trust you again for what you say. So I'm not going to do that. On the issue of the economic plan that you talk about, I agree with the person, I think it's Sekou or so, who said, look, the rule of law set the basis. And we have a lot of laws here that, if properly enforced, will improve the economy. The petroleum law, for example, that was violated before in you know by government. That petroleum law came under President Taylor. Is not because we don't like President Taylor for some of the things he did, but his petroleum law was good. And some provisions of the revenue code are also good. The revenue code contains a lot of things that should be done for the economy. Are we enforcing our revenue laws in a way that will make Liberia benefit? Our investment incentive code is for encouraging investment. How are we using our investment incentive code to improve the economy? We don't have to rewrite, but we can improve on enforcement and compliance. And I will add that President Toba had import substitution and export promotion. I want to engage in more import substitution and export promotion and give a lot of incentives to people who want to create jobs here by manufacturing. Because when you manufacture, we have made in Liberia, they will get more taxes. We also increase employment and the country benefits.
Thank you so much. I know there are a lot of other questions here. We definitely want to have you back, Councillor, because our viewers want to ask more questions, and we still have more questions to ask you. But time is.
Well, this is the introductory appearance, so you know I will appear many more times.
Yeah, Mr. Sear, we are winding this down.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Sear, you are muted.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis and Councillor. We want to say a very big thank you for giving this platform the opportunity to interact with you on what you would do should you be given the opportunity to serve our country as president. Like Dennis said, we have more questions, and that is our job. We have a bank of questions, and we will always want to ask these questions. And you saw our viewers interacting with you, you know, telling them 1 minute, some of them want to go 2. That means that people want to hear more from you. And the only reason they're doing that is because they have responsible individuals here asking responsible questions and conducting the business well. So this is a terrain for you. The questions will be tough, but I think you are a tough guy, and I think you make a lot of sense. Thank you for coming. Then is that all I have. We can take the councillor closing statement and take leave of him, and then we can schedule with his team to get him back.
Thank you, Councillor. And we know some of our viewers are complaining, oh, she didn't answer my question, but definitely we want to have you back. to answer those questions. Let's get your closing statement, and again, we can thank you enough for coming.
Well, I want to thank you and the viewers and those who had the courage to ask tough questions. I like that. It improved the debate. We cannot have a vibrant democracy without people talking and disagreeing. So I respect those who express their opinions, even those who disagree with me. I respect that. I just want to tell the Liberian people that the 2023 election is not a joking matter. Liberia is in a state of emergency in every aspect of human existence in this country, and we have to stop the continuing retrogression. So I'm calling on all Liberians to come on board the train for leading Liberia to a progressive path of peace, progress, and prosperity. And trust me, I will be a good train conductor for the Republic of Liberia beginning 2024. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On that note, we want to thank you, Councillor Gongloe, and also our viewers for staying here with us. On top of the hour at 3, we're going to have FOL Marketplace, where we discuss business, finance, and economics. And our topic today is how to stop or to curb the illicit flow of financial transaction, the illicit flow of money. How do we curb it? You don't want to miss that? Join us at 3 for FOL Marketplace. We now close with our song that says we are all Liberians. And at 7 tonight, we're going to understand the rate of arrest for Ellis Cummings. We have some legal minds in the room to break it all down for you. What does it all mean? We are tired with all the politics of it. We want to go to the legal part of it. Come at 6 o'clock. I will be here. My co-host and Sunny will be here, and we will ask the tough questions. Until then, from us is have a good day.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.